this is my problem with the Western world, that the laws and the bills that have been put in place were never put in place for colored people. And it shows till this day that whenever somebody in the Western world is encountered with a person of color, there is a great deal of tension. And that tension is often never, or should I say rarely, capable of being caused by the person of color, who is actually incapable of causing that tension. And he is incapable of causing the tension because he is barely capable of even understanding why on earth he is in a land full of racists, full of people who have never made any effort to accommodate for him. So in order to kind of alleviate a guilt, a hidden guilt, or should I say an evident guilt in broad daylight, that everybody except for Black people have held the potential to achieve adequate paying jobs and education on a mass scale. If you look at the masses, you will find that people in the Western world refuse to acknowledge these roots, and as a attempt to acknowledge these roots, they hide covertly to bring themselves together and alienate the Black people further, as if Black people have not been alienated from our roots enough. This level of being alienated and facing isolation is one that actually maneuvers Black people into distressing situations, to where, unfortunately, due to the lack of education, lack of knowledge and resourceful contribution from the society that we live in, you will find that a lot of colored people are maneuvered into situations where even one slip of a word can hinder their entire life of success. And the downside of all of this just goes down to the law. Like I told you, you cannot promote equality and then practice hostility, especially behind closed doors. You cannot tell me that your neighborhood sheep of a landlord, being those who adopt the white policy, accept the Black people into their communities with rounded arms just because they offer a smile, when that Black person, if you report it, and even just look at the statistics as we've seen, that Black person has been scientifically and governmentally approved to go through racism in that scenario at least 4 to 20 times a day. And the way that this education can be so hidden within these communities is it is quite unusual. There holds a, like I said, this complex guilt that you will find many people of color have to be a witness of when they're in the hands of white people who for some reason are perhaps just incapable of being resourceful or being decent towards colored people. And because of this lack of just ethical equilibrium, they are convinced that the issues that surround the colored people can be solved by a smile, that they can be solved by simple acts of token kindness, of a simple wave, of a simple hello neighbor, of a simple pat on the head, as if their dogs don't receive better treatments or equivalent treatments or perhaps even better bedding than the typical experience of a black man who has to undergo these racist communities. And this is the problem that you will find yourself undergoing, because it is so cleverly hidden. It is so systematically organized, as it has been under the doctrine and the law, that black people have never been accounted for the experience that has caused the distress within the communities. And the westernized communities are extremely well aware of this. And as a result of their awareness, they are very capable of exploiting that and perhaps even using that to their advantage, knowing that no police, no federal court has been able to advocate on behalf of a black person, even when that black person is in a distressing situation. It is only the black community that has actually put forward an effort and actually been well-rounded and should I say well aware of the inherent struggles which have been backed up through history that these schools refuse to teach. So what they do, instead of teaching the reality of the situation, is they teach a brief month, the quote unquote Black History Month, where somehow they convince themselves that by honoring black elders who have actually lost their way to reside on planet Earth due to racism, they actually tell you everything you need to know within that title, being that Black history is literally history. And by refusing to acknowledge the present day circumstances that black people currently face, you will definitely understand that the issue is revolving towards the communities, and perhaps even the level of incompetency that the systematic guilt within the American system holds, to the point where when the system is in contact with a colored person, this system absolutely refuses to even just convince themselves that that colored person is worthy of a level of decent respect, that that colored person is worthy of a decent walk, of a decent shopping experience, without being targeted by racist security who always have to keep one extra eye on a black person, not because that black person is going to steal something, but because they know they hold that inner guilt conscious complex that has actually maneuvered that black person into a life of poverty, to the point where all he is doing, should he be caught in a life of crime, is doing what he needs to do to survive in the United States, given that the American barriers have not created any sort of reasonable justice or system to appropriate the experience that colored people have to go through as we speak. And you will find this throughout the entire Western Hemisphere, that they still remain within this outdated policy, completely foreign to the world, to the point where the world is capable of absolutely dominating these American powers. The Americans can't even, people within the Western Hemisphere don't even know that the same people who they are brutalizing and who they are hurting worldwide have been the same ones who have laid the foundation within the agriculture, within the industries, and for some reason they adopt the concept that they are better than these people, and because they have neglected the fair treatment of this group of people, to the point where your mosquito flying across your bedroom will probably receive better treatment than the average colored person in America. They maneuver the responsibility, and they maneuver their way around, trying to convince themselves that the level of satisfaction, or should I say the level of critical thinking is necessary. And I would have to tell you that the reality of this situation is it will never end, because they're simply just not smart enough to understand that this is not how the world is living, but it's how they're living. That's what they think is cool. They think that's fancy. They think that's trending. They think that's culture. Exploiting a group of people who have been hurting enough for thousands of years. Okay, I get it.